Hey everybody, I hope everybody's having a great week this week. So this week I had something kind of neat and special that happened. I had somebody reach out to me and ask could I make them a "Will you marry me" card, and they wanted to incorporate a engagement ring in it. So this is what I came up with. They said that their girlfriend really likes Disney characters, so I used some of my Disney paper, and it says "I love you." And so we open it up, a cool pop-up card here, and in the rings, I'm going to put this behind it so you can see, it says "Marry Me." And then on this area right here, it says "Will you marry me?" And we could put the name here if we wanted to. And yeah, so that's it, guys. I think it turned out really good, and it folds up very nicely in our card. And then on the back, I just did a carriage, and I thought if he wanted to date it or sign it, he could do something there also. So why don't we head over to Design Space, and I'm going to show you how we can create this card. So I'll see you there. Okay guys, now that we're here in Design Space, this is the image that we are going to be needing and using this week. So if you want to go to images and grab that real quick. The next thing I'd like to do is let's go to Google, and we're going to get a diamond off of the web. So if you type in diamond clip art rings alame, it will bring it up, and we're looking for this image here. And it has a little green A square that is the image we're looking for, and it says wedding rings icon, the line illustrator. Now you can right click and save image as and save it that way, but I like to use my snippet tool if you have that. So you go to File, New, and then just grab as much of just the diamond as you can. If you get a little bit of the ring, that's okay. So I got that. That's perfect. That will work. So then we're going to go to File, Save As, and name it whatever you would like. Then we're going to go over to Design Space again, and we're going to go to Upload, Upload Image, Browse, and then go to wherever you saved it at. Mine is Diamond Ring. Now, I use complex, so click on complex, and I'm going to show y'all a trick. So if you have the remove background, you could click on that. If you don't, just click on all of the white to get rid of it. Okay? And we don't need this black over here, whatever it is. If you got it in yours, just erase it. If you didn't, that's okay. Now I want you to hit apply and continue. Now if you notice how sharp and clean the print and cut image is. Now if we look over here on the cut image, we have these little marks here that aren't very nice and clean. So when it goes to cut, it's going to have these areas that's going to be cut out like that. But if we go back and we go and upload this image again, and I don't know if there's a flaw in Design Space that you have to go back all the way to upload it, but when I try to just go back and do this, it doesn't work. So again, we'll just quickly click on all of the white, get rid of that. Now, if we click back on select and go down to more options, and we go to this color tolerance, and let's try about 75 and see if that works. Apply and continue. Look how much nicer this image is now. It's all nice and clean. So we're going to select the cut image, and we're going to upload it. And then we're going to grab it and go ahead and add it to our canvas. Now for right now, let's just set this aside and we're going to work on our card and our pretty paper that we're going to need. We're going to make our card a little bit bigger this week just to accommodate our pop-up. We're going to make it 11 by 6.5, and we're going to go to shapes. We're going to get a score line. We're going to make that score line 6.5 inches long. And then if you grab your score line and your square and go up to align center, it will center it for you. And then let's go down to the bottom and hit attach. Then we're going to need 4 pieces of pretty paper. We are going to make those 5.25 by 6.25 and just move it aside. Now let's go ahead and work on our ring. So we're going to go to shapes. We're going to get a circle and we're going to make one circle 1.932 by 1.932, and then the other circle we're going to make it 2.191 by 2.191. Then we're going to grab them both, hit align, center, and then go down to the bottom and we're going to hit slice. And then we should have this band right here. Now let's get our diamond. And what we can do with this diamond, if you have this much left, if you have a little bit more, that is okay, as long as we can line it up on our ring. So what we're going to do is right click, duplicate, and then on one of your diamonds, you're going to go in and contour it and hide all contours. Then with our diamond, we're going to make it 1.056 by 0.609. We're going to rotate it 353.75 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1.413 and the Y at 1. Now, if yours did not line up on top of your ring like that, it's okay to adjust it to whatever you need to make it on your ring. If it is a little bit bigger or smaller than what I have, it's okay. With our ring, we're going to resize that to 2.191 by 2.191. We're going to place the X at 1 and then the Y at 1.579. Then let's right click, duplicate. Then we're going to make that circle 2.041 by 2.041. We're going to place the X at 2.472 and the Y at 1.718. Let's go to shapes. We're going to get a square. We're going to make that square 0.568 by 0.465. We're going to place the X at 1.848 and then the Y at 3.727. Then we're going to duplicate it and we're going to put the X at 3.315 and then the Y at 3.699. Then what we're going to do is grab this all and go down to the bottom and hit weld. And then we have our ring. To get our little diamond cuts up here, what we're going to do is take other diamond that we put aside and let's go down to contours and we're going to hide this piece up here. And what we're going to do is just go up and resize it to fit inside of our diamond. Resize it to whatever you think is suitable. And you want 2 of these. While we're on the ring, if you would like to place something in the middle, you just find the font you want, size it to what you like inside of your rings. And the only thing you're going to make sure is when you place it in your ring is it's touching on this side and touching on this side of each one. So this would be one, and then on the end, I need to make sure it's touching on this edge of the ring and then on this edge of the ring. And then with Janice, the same thing. I need to make sure it's touching on this edge of the ring and then this side. And then once you have it figured out what you want to put in there, if you're going to put anything, you just go down to the bottom and hit weld. And then we have this piece. You're going to need two of these. So let's duplicate it. But also, if you're doing writing, you're going to need to go up and hit flip and flip horizontal because you want it to match onto the back correctly. So now that we have these pieces done, we can go ahead and move them aside. Okay, now for our heart piece. Take that heart after we contour it to make it look like this. We're going to resize it to 1.802 by 2.87. Then once we have this resized, what we're going to need to do is right click, duplicate, and then we're going to set this heart aside to use for later. We're going to place this yellow one, the X at 1.23 and then the Y at 0.003. Then we're going to right click, duplicate. We're going to rotate this heart 61.51 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1.342 and then the Y at 0.426. Then go back to the yellow one. We're going to right click, duplicate. So on this blue one, we're going to rotate it 303.14 degrees. The X we're going to place on 0.003, the Y at 0.385. Then let's go to this top one, right click, duplicate. We are going to rotate it 122.08. We're going to place the X at 1.426 and the Y at 1.482. Then let's go up to the yellow one, duplicate it again. We're going to rotate it 241.21 degrees. We're going to place the X at 0.061 and the Y at 1.592. Then we're going to go up to the yellow one again and right click, duplicate. We're going to rotate it 181.05 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1.23 and then the Y at 1.211. Then once we have it, we're going to grab it all and go down to the bottom and we're going to hit weld. Then we have this piece right here that we need. And this is going to be our base for the pop-up of our ring. So now what we're going to do is we are going to resize this. We're going to resize it to 3.732 by 3.645. Now we're going to make sure our X is at 0 and I can only get it over as far as my Y is on 0.004. Then we're going to go to shapes. We're going to get a score line. We're going to make that score line 3.158. We're going to rotate it 90 degrees. We're going to place the X at 0.275 and then the Y at 1.827. So now that we have this, let's go ahead and right click, duplicate. And the only thing we're going to do now is highlight our score line here, and then let's go up to operation and change it to a basic cut line. Then we can grab it all and hit attach, and then we can move this aside. Then we're going to go to shapes again and get another score line. We're going to go up to operations. We're going to make it a cut line. We're going to make that cut line 0.532. We're going to rotate it 90 degrees. We're going to place the X at 0.968 and then the Y at 1.559. Then we're going to duplicate it. We're going to make the X, we're going to place it at 2.287 and then the Y at 1.559. Then we can right click, duplicate. We can place the X at 2.287 and then the Y at 2.094. Then we can right click, duplicate. We can place the X at 0.968 and the Y at 2.094. We can grab it all, go down to the bottom and hit attach. Now let's go to shapes and we're going to get a circle. We're going to make this back circle 2 in width and 2 in height, 2 inches. And we're going to place the X at 0 and the Y at 0. Then we're going to duplicate it and then we're going to place the X at 0 and then the Y at 0.4. Then we're going to grab it both and we're going to hit slice. What we're going to need is this little piece right here. Then our piece we just cut, we're going to place the X at 1 and then the Y at 1. And then we're going to go to shapes and we're going to get a box. Then we're going to make that box 2 by 2. And then we're going to place the X at 1.01 and then the Y at 1.62. Then we're going to grab them both and hit slice. And if you notice, we have this little piece left here. So let's just highlight it and go to contour. And then we're going to get rid of this piece right there. So click on it. And now what we're going to do is get a square. We're going to make that square 2.778 by 1.806. We're going to place the X at 1.006 and the Y at 1.003. Let's go down and get that extra heart that we duplicated and set aside. And we're going to make it 1.802 in width, and in height we're going to make it 2.49. We're going to rotate it 181.21 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1.536 and the Y at 1. Then with that U shape, what we're going to do is we're going to resize it to 0.725 by 0.243. We're going to rotate it 35.62 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1.155 and the Y at 2.945. Then let's right click, duplicate. We're going to rotate it 324.38 degrees. We're going to place the X at 3.085 and then the Y at 2.973. Then let's go to shapes and we're going to get a circle. We're going to make that circle 0.622 by 0.622. We're going to place the X on 1 and then the Y on 2.455. Then we're going to duplicate it. We're going to place the X at 3.167 and then the Y at 2.497. Then we're going to grab it all and go down to the bottom and hit weld. We're going to resize it to 2.49 by 2.229. Then we're going to go to shapes. We're going to get a score line. Then we're going to go up to operation and change it to a basic cut line. We're going to make that cut line 1.249 in height. We're going to rotate it 90 degrees. We're going to place the X at 0 and the Y at 0.5. Then we're going to grab it all and hit attach. Then we're going to right click, duplicate, and then we're going to flip horizontal. We're going to need 4 of these. So we can grab these and group them together and then move those aside. Okay, now we can go to shapes. We're going to get a square. We're going to make that square 1.828 by 3.609. We're going to place our square, the X on 1 and then the Y on 1. Then we're going to go to shapes. We're going to get a score line. We're going to make that score line 3.608. We're going to place the X at 1.917 and the Y at 1. Then we're going to right click, duplicate. We are going to make that score line 0.862 in height. We're going to rotate it 90 degrees. We're going to place the X on 1.917 and then the Y at 1.349. Then we're going to right click, duplicate. We're going to come down to the bottom and we are going to place the X on 1 and then the Y at 4.228. Then we're going to right click, duplicate. We're going to make that score line 2.541 in height. We're going to rotate it 315 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1.015 and the Y at 1.911. Then we're going to right click, duplicate, flip it horizontal. We're going to place that X at 1.019 and then the Y at 1.906. Then let's click on this score line. We're going to right click, duplicate. We're going to rotate it back to 0. We're going to make it a cut line. So go up to operation and change it to a basic cut. We're going to make it 0.35 in height. We're going to place it on 1.917 and the Y on 1. Then we're going to duplicate that and then come down to the bottom and we're going to place the X on 1.917 and then the Y on 4.247. Then let's right click, duplicate. We're going to make that cut line 1.073 in height. We're going to rotate it 239.09 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1.915 and then the Y at 3.698. Then let's right click, duplicate. The X at 1 and then the Y at 1.348. And then once we do that, we have everything we need. So we're going to just go ahead and grab it all and go down to the bottom and hit attach. And we just need one of these. So here are the basic things we're going to need to make this pop-up card. Anything else that you would like to add to it, go ahead and do that. Let's not forget to go up and save and name our project. And that's it, guys. So go ahead and get everything together and get it cut out, and I'll meet you at the table. I'll see you there. Okay, guys, since we're here at the table, what we can do is go ahead and fold our base of our card and put on our pretty paper. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so now that we have our card put together, what we can do is get all of our pieces for our pop-up. And what I have found is that for this piece here, if we double it, it seems to work better on the mechanism. This is a 65-pound paper, so if you're using a little bit heavier paper, you might not need to do it. And so what we're going to do is go ahead and glue these pieces together. We have these glued together back to back. Now, when we put this together, we only want to glue just past probably my names. It might be a little bit more than halfway. We don't want to glue any of this or the tabs together. Then if you want, we can go ahead and put our diamond on here. And that is what mine is looking like. So we have this done. We have these glued together. We can work our score lines on this piece here, which is really just folding it in half.
Then once we have this folded, we can score our legs here. Now that we've worked our score lines, we can just feed our little legs through these holes. And then once we get them through, we can just pull them the rest of the way. And it should bump up right to the score line of our ring. And then what we're going to do is put a little glue on each of these and glue them down. So let's do that. And then what we can do is work this towards the ring and give it a good fold. And there we have the top part. Just a note, if you are using this shiny paper here, what I've done so you can see here is I had a really hard time with this glue that I usually use, which is Tombow, or my tear and tape. I could not get this to stick. So what I did is filed this area on this one for you. So I just kind of line this edge up, the cut line, to here. And then I took a pencil and just did a little trace around it to give me an idea. And then you're just gonna file it to get some of this shine off. So I think that's probably good enough. So if you want, we can go ahead and glue the back onto this. There we go, we got that together. For this piece, they just feed into the cut of each other. Like so. We're going to put tape or glue on each of these tabs, and then we're going to fold this like so. And then we're going to center this on here in the center. But you don't want to make sure you don't have too much on this side or too much on this side. And then we're just going to lay it flat to here. Okay? So I got my tape on. I'm going to get these nice and straight as I can. And then we're going to center this in the middle here. And this score line will go in this score line. And then you just kind of push it down and rub it. And there we have it. So now what we can do is work our mechanism here. So let's fold it in half like so. Okay, that's in half. Then choose one of your diagonal lines to work and fold. And then do the other diagonal line. And then once you have it folded, you hold it like this and just push it in the center on each side. It will fold up and you will have this. And that's what we want. Okay, so it should be looking like so. Now we can work these score lines on the tabs here. So once we have this done, what we can do is you'll fold this forward, your tabs, like so, and then we're going to put tape on these. So let's go ahead and do that. Then your tape is going to go about right here on each side. So I'm just going to scratch this up just a little. So you'll turn it over because you want your point to be facing towards you. So now we want it looking like the flaps up, like so. And it will fit just about between our point and this little edge here is where we want to place it. And then it will shut like so. And your little tip right here should fold up inside of the score line. See how it's tucked in there on each side? Before we put this down, what we're going to do is take a little snippet and about that much, and we're going to cut off that end so it lays much nicer in our score line. Okay, so now that we have this together, if you have anything you're putting on here, go ahead and do that before we put it down. I think it'll be easier for us. Just remember, when it opens, it turns and opens like so. So you just, if you're having your card go this way and this is the front, make sure you're setting it properly for it to turn the right way. My front is here, so I'm going to make sure Janice and Ricky is facing this page over here. And what we do is just line this edge that we cut off in the edge of our card, and then we can center it, and then we're just going to put glue on the triangle and then do the same thing on the other side. So let's go ahead and do that. And then we can go ahead and do this side. And then after I do this, I'm going to go ahead and finish mine up, and then I'll be back to show you what mine turned out like. So I'll be right back. Alright guys, I'm back, and I have a question. What kind of jewelry does rabbits wear? 14 karat gold. So this is what I ended up doing with this card. I did some debossing on the strips and did some hearts, and I just love this shiny paper. And then of course we open it up, and it says happy anniversary Janice and Ricky, and that's what I did in the center there. And then I did some more debossing on the purple, if you can see it. There you go, with some hearts. And then on the back it's the same thing. We got lines with hearts on the end of it, and I just figured right here is where I can write a message. And yeah, that's it, guys. I just want to say thank you so much for stopping by and crafting with me, and don't forget to stop by next week to see what's popping and dropping. I'll see you then. Bye.